Why should Instagram have all the art fun?
Why not bring the art conversation to LinkedIn?
I'm Melissa, an artist and a culture sleuth.
I'm Nina. I'm a visual storyteller, a LinkedIn content creator, and a photographer.
Creativity is as vital to a successful business venture as it is to an artist.
So why is the conversation about art and business segregated to different media platforms?
That's what led us to create a live show on LinkedIn.
We interview fascinating experts and explore art and how it relates to business, technology, and education.
Welcome to An Artful Life, curious conversations about the ways humans make and use art.
And here we are. Welcome, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Today we have Adisa Keen calling in from Kazakhstan. And Melissa, why don't you give us a short introduction to our guest today?
I would love to, but today's introduction is going to be a little bit longer because it's a good story. We were living in Spain, I think 9 years ago, and we received a contact through an organization I really like called workaway.org, I think, where nomadic travelers and like-minded hosts can share a space, and we had more space than we needed. So we got a contact from a couple, a generation younger than we are, and they said, "We are your yin yang." Like, I'm an American citizen married to a Soviet man born in Kazakhstan, and they were a Kazakh woman married to an American born in California, I think. So we were just intrigued, and we agreed. They came to our home in Spain for a month, and my husband and I enjoyed them so much. And they were so full of life and so full of intelligence and curious and attentive to cross-cultural things. They wrote songs about every place they went to and sang them to us. It was so much fun. And her husband, and you may be involved in this too, Dennis, to whom Adisa is married, is going to be our guest in April, and he's busy saving Soviet public monumental art all over Central Asia, and we're going to learn about that then, but it had already started. So just a stellar couple. I knew they would go far, and when I discovered that there was a new world-class museum in Kazakhstan, I saw on LinkedIn that Adisa was involved in it. I thought, we've got to talk about this. So, and I forgot too. At that time, my husband and I were starting a passion business with fine art on silk scarves that are made in Como, Italy, and Adisa graciously modeled some of our first marketing campaigns for us. So this is on the roof of our house in Spain in 2017. And we did a whole campaign around Adisa. So you were an amazing supermodel.
Oh, I loved those scarves. I loved modeling. That was actually my first experience being a model. Yeah.
Well, you're a natural. So welcome to our show. We are so excited for our audience to share our enthusiasm in the new museum and to meet you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for inviting me. Yeah, as I was saying, that this is my first interview in English giving about our museum to a bigger audience than outside of Kazakhstan. Yeah. So I am honored. Yeah, and excited.
Well, we're super excited for our conversation we're going to have because it's going to be really, really, really interesting.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey from the time when I introduced you in that phase of your life to the Almaty Museum of Art?
Yeah. So when I met you, this was like 9 years ago, almost 9 years ago. Yeah. So I was teaching English back then to locals, and I also I started teaching Kazakh to foreigners a little bit. That was just a project of passion, like for friends. And then this whole war thing started, like in Ukraine and everything. And there was more and more interest in Kazakhstan with locals who wanted to study more Kazakh. So that's how I became more of a Kazakh teacher through English. I would only teach it in English because I was only teaching it mostly to like foreigners who are in Kazakhstan. And like, long story short, somehow I became this person who's only teaching Kazakh, and I started teaching all the top managers, owners of different companies in Kazakhstan in the last 2 or 3 years.
Exciting.
And that was like something I never imagined I would be doing. But anyways, the more I was doing this, the more I was invited to work in different projects where they wanted me to be able to speak both English, and Kazakh. Yeah, because like mostly, yeah, it would be because it was a big shift from Russian to Kazakh language. So, yeah, first I was invited to Tadler to work as a journalist. Yeah, to shape this whole sphere that it was Tadler Russian, and then they wanted to make Tadler Kazakh, where like everything was more like for Kazakh people, for local people. And while I was there, I also started teaching this businessman, Nurlan Smagulov. He is very popular in Kazakhstan. He has like many car companies, car manufacturing companies. He also, this is him. He also has several shopping malls, and he was building a museum that nobody knew about, like because it was behind the gates, like behind this huge gate, and like like in one of the best locations in the city with a beautiful mountains in the behind, like, but nobody knew. And this building, like this museum started building in 2022, like we would be passing by, but we never know what's happening inside. So I started teaching him last year, and I think during the third class he was like, I think you need to work for my museum. I need a person like you. I'm like, years in the museum. I've never been close with the art. But then like he said that he already has a lot of not like incredibly smart, intelligent art people working in the museum. But he realized what he's lacking is that he wants the museum. Usually, like right now we call it a contemporary art museum. So not to be like scary for local people, like something big. It's something new in Central Asia. It's something big in Kazakhstan, and he wanted to be like available to locals, and locals are Kazakhs. So he said, I want a person who would be able to explain this something new, something complicated, something difficult, and maybe scary, and maybe in some places too fashionable, too modern, into a local language. So he said, I want you to be that person and work for my museum and be the spokesperson. Yeah. That's how I joined the museum a year ago. Yeah.
Wow. Very smart man. Very smart man. Yeah.
Yes.
He is a smart man. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what a beautiful tribute to what language, how important multiple languages can be if it's possible to acquire them.
That's true. That's something that I've never learned, like known before, because like just knowing 3 languages, being able to speak all 3 of them, like brought me to so many different journeys. Like for example, right now at the museum, I do the communications, and plus another path that I have at the museum is that I'm responsible for everything in Kazakh, which means like I'm responsible for catalogs in Kazakh, books in Kazakh. And right now I'm writing a book with the museum called Salem Muzey, which means like, oh, this is a little secret. Yeah. But we're allowed to know it. I asked, they said I can share it. Yeah. So it's a book that's going to come out about the history of our museum to little kids. Yeah. Because I wrote a book 3 years ago for kids called Arman's Piggy Bank, and it's about my son, Arman. And it was sold out in 2 months. And after, yeah, they were like, you should write about the museum for our kids. Yeah. So
that really is an exciting project. Congratulations.
Wow, that's really cool. That's very cool. So can you contextualize for us, I mean, you started talking about it a little bit, but also historically, what it means to have a contemporary museum in a in your part of the world, in Central Asia, and in particular in a predominantly Muslim or 100% Muslim country. Like what is the meaning and the significance of that?
It's a good question. We only learned, oh yeah, that's our museum. We only learned the significance of our museum only after it opened. Like while Smagulov, the founder, was building the museum, we knew that it would be something big, something important, but we never knew the scale of it. Like, so we've never, like, there is no contemporary art museum, not in Almaty, not in like the city where I live in, not in Kazakhstan, not in Central Asia. So this is the very first one, and people never understood what contemporary art is. It's something new. Like only the ones who could travel could see that. But there are a lot. Yeah, but there are a lot of ones who never traveled out of Kazakhstan. And his idea, he had two missions, but the very first mission was that to bring all these contemporary artists to Kazakhstan so that locals could come and see it inside of Kazakhstan without going outside, like without paying billions of like tenge, yeah, everything to go like to Dubai or to Paris, so that he could have it here. Like Yayuko-sama will have her room of infinity room right inside of a museum where the entrance is like $4. So yeah, this was big, but we realized how big this was. I think in the first month, just in 2 weeks, when the museum opened, we had more than 60,000 visitors.
Wow.
Yeah. So like the museum works from 11 to 8 p.m., but there were moments when the museum would be full at 8 p.m. and nobody wants to leave. People want to see it, and they keep coming back, and there were lines of people, like 200, 300 people outside, like, all the way like this, like things that you see in the movies.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, and what Smagulov also wanted to do, what I really liked, is that he tried to make it very affordable. As I told you, the entrance was only $4, but it's free for the kids. Like it's only $1 for the students and for the school kids. But that also was such a good move that people were not afraid of coming. In the beginning, people, this is such a beautiful building. By the way, the building was built by a British company, Chapman
I'm going to
Taylor.
put it back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a very beautiful design architecture. It was built by a British company, Chapman Taylor, and yeah, they built this museum in 4 years. Smagulov wanted to build it in a year and a half, like his other malls or like factories. But then these guys were like, no, we can't do it. Like it has to be very thorough. In the museums, you need to have like very good lighting. You need to have very good climate system. And he was like, oh, all of these things are new for me. So it was a 4-year-long journey. And the longer it was built, the more people were interested to see what it was like.
Yeah.
And in the very first Nadis, we call her Nadis, this white hair, like white head outside. It's a sculpture by Jaume Plensa, a Spanish
From
sculptor.
Barcelona.
Yeah. And he even came to Kazakhstan for the museum opening, and he was so surprised to see it. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So when Smagulov went to meet him, he decided to make it something local. So all the art that we have outside of the museum, we have 3 international artists outside. So Jaume Plensa, Inko Shonibare, the British Nigerian one, and then we also have Alicia Kłade from the Polish artist, and all 3 of them tried to make it connected to Kazakhstan. So what Jaume Plensa was doing, if you see that's a girl like with closed eyes, she has 2 braids.
Yes.
What local girls usually do, yeah. So it also captures so much attention, because that intersection where she's located is one of the busiest in the city. Like it's where all the cars, all the honking happens. And she's there with her eyes closed, and she says, like, let's meditate, let's calm down. All white and cute and beautiful, yeah. So it was big, all over social media, yeah.
My husband, Daud Akriyev, asked me to make an input here, which is, this is a huge deal. This is like J. Paul Getty, the J.P. Morgan Library, the Frick Museum. The scale and cultural importance of this gift to Central Asia from Mr. Smagulov is devastatingly wonderful. I just wanted to say that.
I'll tell him that.
Okay. I would think that also it would, I hope when I go there that I'll see a beautiful display of Kazakh modern and contemporary art, because I would think if you are a contemporary artist in the heart of Kazakhstan, you are geographically a little bit isolated from some of your colleagues in the rest of the world. And so I, in Tennessee or in Spain, I don't have access to them, and I would want to see them in the museum.
So right now we have 2 exhibition rooms. We call them exhibition rooms, Sararkha and Oladala. And in one of the rooms, we have the collection that Smagulov donated for us. Like he gave us more than 700 artworks that he's been collecting throughout the 30 years. And like in the 90s, him and his wife, they had their own gallery called Almaty. That was in Almaty. That's when they first realized like they have a big love for collecting art, and they really were in love with it. They were giving it to all their friends, and they collected a lot of art. So they gave 70% of their art to us. They kept some for themselves.
I'm glad. I would too.
Yeah. So we showcase all of that art in a room, an exhibition room called Konaktar, which means guests, and it's mostly the 60s artists. And it was done mostly by artists from the whole Soviet Union who were sent to Kazakhstan,
Okay.
like involuntarily during the Soviet Union time, and then they would come to Kazakhstan, and then they would come in the beginning as like they were sent to Kazakhstan. They didn't have any homes, any friends, anything. And when the locals greeted them and hosted them, and they shared their house, their food, their friendship with them, all of them started having this beautiful collaboration, like sharing art, their techniques. And there were a lot of artists. Like one of the artists, Sirinja Boldano, he is from Buryatia, and he makes beautiful wooden artworks. He carves them, and he makes masks, facial masks. So when Smagulov saw him when he was studying in Russia, he bought one of his first masks, and that's how he started collecting them. Yeah. So this guy was one of those who were sent like to Kazakhstan. Yeah, exiled to Kazakhstan. And this is one of the rooms, 60s. And the second one we have is a contemporary artist, Almagul Minlibayeva, who's still alive, and she lives in Berlin right now.
My favorite piece that I found on your website.
Yeah, this is Almagul Minlibayeva. She's actually coming to Kazakhstan, in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Wow.
So she is a great artist. She started her art journey at the end of 80s, and she has still been working, like creating art. And this is her first ever retrospective in her life. So she decided also to have it in Kazakhstan, and she gave us like lots of her art, beautiful art. Yeah. And the great thing about her is that she not only draws, paints, but also she makes a lot of video art, and she also does a lot of performances. Yeah. So one of the favorites of locals is a wedding dress that is showcased with a video. That's so in the beginning of 2000s, she had a friend who just once told her, like, I have this wedding dress and I want to sell it so that I can buy something for my kids. I need money. And Olmagul was like, okay, I'll do something. I'll see. I'll just buy it from you. And then, but before that, in the beginning of 90s, when she didn't have enough resource and money, she used to paint on her dresses. Like, how do you say, like, you actually
Stretch them.
Yeah.
Stretch the fabric of the dress.
Of her own dresses. And there are paintings called like You Love Me, like where it's actually on her green or blue dresses. Yeah. So she thought she would do the same thing with this dress. But then it's a beautiful white dress, like with a head thing. Yeah. She puts it away, and then she keeps looking at it, and she was like, I should do something with this. And one day she decides to wear it in the middle of winter, when it's slushy winter, like there is lots of like slushy snow, like not nice. She goes to the Baraholka, that's the place, to the bazaar where the whole like trading, everything happens. And she decides to film herself, where she goes to people and she just tells them like, I want to marry somebody. Can somebody marry me in a wedding dress? Like go to random guys. Or like she would be like, I just ran away from my own wedding. She would just make up these stories and like film what people would be saying. Yeah.
Mhm.
So she is very multidisciplinary. She creates in different ways. Yeah. Her exhibit actually will be at the museum till the end of May. And soon in a month, we're going to have re-exposition of her video art. Yeah.
That's fascinating. Yeah. Is it maybe dumb question? Is Mr. Smogulov from the area, or where is he? Is he a native of Kazakhstan?
He is, yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
He's actually, from a place not far from Almaty. From where he's a local. So he was born just a usual guy. Yeah. I mean, like ordinary person. Then he says that when he first, went to Russia to study, his uncle started taking him in Moscow. Yeah, I think in Moscow. Yeah, his uncle started taking him to museums and theaters when he was around 17, and that's how he fell in love with art. And he was like, okay, and he was like, one day I hope I'll have something like this in Kazakhstan. Yeah.
Hmm. What role has he chosen for himself through his foundation or personally now that the museum is underway? Does he like hopping in and surprising everybody and seeing how it's going and bringing in ideas, or is he now feel like his work is done and he's more of a stand back and let it run kind of guy?
He's actually very involved.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, he still comes to the museum several times a week, and he likes discussing how everything's going. And he just likes walking in the halls and the rooms to see what the audience is doing, how they're doing, what they're talking about. Sometimes, when he has his guests, he likes to give tours himself.
Oh,
And
fun.
he actually leads these tours like for 20 people, 30 people. And the whole tour around the museum is around 1 hour, and he sometimes makes it like even longer, but he's very dedicated. He's very interested. Yeah. Yeah.
I have just invented a question on our list, Nina.
All good.
I collect Central Asian embroidery. So
Aw.
this is from a tribe that's sometimes in Kazakhstan and sometimes in Uzbekistan, called the Lakai. And these are
Mhm.
made by women. It's silk, sometimes on wool, sometimes on silk, sometimes on cotton. Are any of those kinds of crafts in the museum, or is it the traditional Western idea of painting, sculpture, drawing, prints?
We don't have, oh, wait a second. We don't have like the whole room dedicated for it, but Almagul made one or two works like that we showcase in our museum, like from actually like the embroidery thing. Yeah. She called it the nomadizing. Nomadizing map. Yeah, we have one work like that. But it's mostly right now with her contemporary art, it's mostly the video works and photo works. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
So how was it perceived, or maybe that wasn't even a big deal, or was it a big deal that here's now a museum with contemporary art, and traditionally in Muslim culture you didn't show the likeness of a human, right? It was all art was more had more of a decorative function, if I'm putting this right. Was there any discourse about, oh my God, now we're seeing, the girl with the braids, outside already, or also inside, like all this art that depicts humans? Was that it? Was there a conversation around that, or was that a non-topic?
So I know that in Wikipedia everywhere it says that we're a Muslim country, but I don't, yeah, I'm just trying to find the right words. We do
Sure.
say we're Muslim, but we're different from what people believe what Muslim is. We do believe in like Allah, yeah, Allah, this God, but in terms of like art, no, we did have a lot of art. It has always been in our lives, and right now there is a small maybe thing that people still question, saying that it's not correct in terms of being in a Muslim country. Is that actually a very interesting thing? So in our museum we have two big exhibition rooms, and we also have four international artist rooms, like Yayu Kusama with Infinity Room, and we have Richard Serra in
Yeah,
our
I saw
museum.
your Sarah.
Yep.
Big.
Yeah, big, yeah, huge. But it's also favorite, everybody's favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, and we also have Anselm Kiefer from Germany. This was a work of his from 2022 Venetian Biennale. And the fourth one, we have an American Bill Viola,
Okay.
the pioneer of the video art from California. So we got his work called Stations, where it's a video of five different TVs, where five people are plunging into the water and they're naked.
Aha.
Yeah. So we did put their signs like +16 so that the kids know about it. But still, when like even grown-ups, and there would be some men like who would go in there and they would come out, they would be like thinking, like, what did I just see? Seriously, you could show this in the museum. They would go back, they would come to us and they'd be like, do you think you can be showing this in the museum to everybody? So it's another conversation that we're having.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
yeah, and they're like, but and it's also the great thing is that once I was just passing by, talking to the like audience, to visitors who were coming to see what they think. This was in the beginning. Yeah. And there was a group of school kids. They were like around 12 or 13, and then they were passing by the room and they came to me and they were like, why can't we go into the room? Our teachers are saying we can't go in there. I'm like, what did she tell you? And they said, our teachers told us that it's a very scary room.
If seeing naked people is scary, then yeah, I guess so.
I guess she didn't know how to explain it. She saw it herself. She was shocked. She just came out. She was like, it's a scary room. Don't go in there. Yeah. So maybe this is the actual Muslim part, that we're still scared of showing the naked bodies, but still women wear like, they show their shoulders. Women wear like short mini skirts. Like people are not scared of being like showing more body outside. But there is this little taboo still, yeah.
I love that. Go ahead, Nina.
No, just quick question. Were the bathers all men, or was it mixed?
You mean like people who are having
in that film?
Yeah.
No. There's even a pregnant woman.
Oh, okay. So people were
yes, there were 5 different people, like men, women, older people, even pregnant women. Yeah, it's a beautiful art. It's a dark room with only 5 screens, and you just sit there. You don't even see the room nearby. So like you go there and you only hear the sound of the music. Yeah, it's called stations. Yeah. Anyways, it's a very beautiful room, but it's very interesting that this room never leaves people without any emotions. And that's what I tell people, that's what contemporary art is. Because like a lot of people, like even my friends would be coming and they're like, what is this? What is contemporary art museum? I'm like, what do you think? And some people would love it. Some people would be like, I don't understand it. And I'm like, this is what contemporary art is. Like, it makes you feel something new. And it makes you think if this is okay, if this is the future, this is how it should be. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
I know that, or I've been taught that traditionally Kazakhstan and Central Asia in general has a nomadic history. So that would mean that the way that stable societies nail art to the walls for 20 years and change them out every 10 years or something wouldn't be the way that art would interact within a nomadic life. So what do you understand as the history of art and ornament and culture saving among the nomadic history, the nomadic culture? I'm making this way more complicated than it needs to be. You know what I'm asking?
I kind of do, and I feel like Dennis would be a better person to answer this.
Okay.
But we did talk about this, that who did we talk about it? Yeah, that it's just art for nomads was came in a different way, not like in a painting way, but like art was in embroidery. Art was like in something like that you can carry with you. That was more like art for them. Because like, again, if you paint something, it's hard to carry with you just like in a couple of horses. So it was mostly like embroidering your clothes, or like a lot of ceramics.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot of pottery. Yeah, so like there's the whole history of pottery making in Kazakhstan too. Yeah. Something that can be used in daily life. Sorry.
I think if you had minimal amount of space and you didn't want to be too weighty, you kind of needed to probably collapse utility with art, right? And make that was a utilitarian tool, like your dress or your cup or your spoon or your bowl, also art, right? So you had to kind of confound the two, I would imagine. Yeah.
Nomads use tents, yes?
We used yurts.
Were the yurts decorated?
Yeah, they were decorated. They were decorated with kirige, and then they would be like these little things hanging. Yeah, that's also art.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, and then there would be a lot of felt making.
Oh wow,
that's cool. Yeah, I made felt once. In school, we had a felt making project, and I just remember lots of water and swollen hands. That was pretty cool. So you had mentioned in the very beginning that art was not that big a part of your life until you started working for the museum, but I would imagine through your husband's work, you probably are not giving yourself that much credit. What role does art play in your life, and how has it changed since you've started working for the museum?
Mm,
Good question, Nina.
a really good one. Yeah. I think the very first thing that comes to my mind is that I started liking patterns
Mm.
in whatever I wear. And art has given me this freedom in not being afraid of expressing myself. So before this, I would be very careful with the colors. I would be very careful with the prints. But now I feel like this is art. This is art. So like there is a good word in Russian called "nadsмотренность," in English, like the more you see, the more your horizon grows. So, like, I started seeing how artists actually combine the colors, how they combine like different textures from the paintings that when I'm walking around the museum, I see it a lot. I go there every day. Like I go downstairs and I walk around and I'm like, oh, so this is possible with this. I can do this. Like, because like all of us live in some kind of limitation. We feel like this is what is right.
Mhm.
Wherever we go, it's a little bit scary going out of this comfort zone, even in simple things like, for example, wearing the way you wear your hair, the way you paint, the way you walk. But then working in art has shown me that all these artists have so much confidence in them.
Mhm.
I admire it, and I'm like, okay, I want to let myself be like that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I love
That's
that.
beautiful.
That get
is
your
that,
open
is
your
that
open
clear?
your horizons, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah. I am a minimalist though, like around the house, if I'm talking about collecting art, we do collect art little by little. Like we travel, like we went to Morocco after we lived with Melissa and
Mm.
yeah, and we got some carpets, yeah, embroidered carpets. Then we went to Uzbekistan, we bought some Suzanne home, yeah, all these different things. But I also realized one thing that since we had kids, we have two little kids at home, it's also a little dangerous to have all these small art pieces. For now, we need to hide all these beautiful pieces until they turn at least 10.
Or have a lot of glue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
They probably
yeah.
end up in mouths and yeah, little hands they don't belong into for sure. Yeah. That's like when I had to dog proof my I had some sculptures on the floor and I had to put them away. Yeah. Yeah. And my
But
dog's really afraid. I have some iron sculptures of crocodiles, African art, and my dog is so afraid of them. He will not, if the ball goes behind one of them, he will not go to get the ball.
Aw, aw.
Well, that's a powerful piece of art.
I guess so. Yes, it even works on my stubborn little dog.
I want to go back to the museum. I'm just stunned at the quantity of visitors that you have had only since September. I mean, to have that quantity of visitation right off the bat, has it emboldened the museum to looking forward to the future to do some things maybe they didn't think they could, or what's coming up in response to this amazing welcome by the public?
A very ambitious question, yeah. So we had 60,000 people in 2 weeks, and in 4 months, I was just doing the report recently, so I know the numbers very well.
Okay.
Yeah, in 4 months, we had 250,000 visitors. 250,000, yeah. And by seeing all of this, that people are interested, and another interesting thing was that around 40% of our visitors are children and teenagers younger than 18. Around 40%.
Wow.
Yeah, because like we can only track the statistics by the tickets that we sell, and we only differentiate the tickets by the ages, like student tickets or like pension tickets, yeah, pensioner senior tickets, yeah, senior tickets, and like the regular ones for people who are like from 20 to 60. So by that, we saw that there is a huge amount of children, teenagers who are interested in coming, and that's how we realized that we need to do more and more teenager oriented workshops and everything. So right now at the museum, we have a room called Shibirkhana, which means workshops, like, yeah, workshop making room. And it gets filled immediately. As soon as we organize some kind of like, we are trying to have workshops like every Saturday and Sunday, and it gets sold out all the time. And another thing that we're also having at the museum, it's also like testing the ground, seeing like what is going to be interesting for the local audience, what people want, what is missing in Almaty. And we started giving lectures about artists. So first we started giving lectures about artists who are showcased in the museum, and in different languages, to see how many people would be interested to come into the English one or Kazakh one or Russian one, to see the statistics. Yeah, even though we had like the synchronized translations all the time, but like still, yeah, there is some significant difference. And then like another interesting thing we learned, that people would be more interested to understand what contemporary art museum is. Like there would be lectures on different people, or there would be lectures on like history of Kazakhstan from the 1920s up to today, or there will be a lecture about like what is contemporary art, and this one would be like totally sold out because people are willing to. Yeah, so that's a good one. And there is a lot of another great thing. There is a lot of interest towards museum, that the very best companies of Kazakhstan want to work with the museum. They want to donate. They want to help. Yeah. So like name any company, like the biggest air carrier, the airport, the PwC, Deloitte, Visa, MasterCard, all the banks, they want to come to us and they were like, we want this museum to thrive and we want to help you guys. So there is PwC who's coming with us right now saying like, we want to make it very inclusive and we want to help you make bas-reliefs of the existing artworks for the people who have difficulty seeing. So, and everybody comes with
That's
their
amazing.
Yeah.
yeah. So we're working on this project, but then everybody's very interested and they want to help out, which is beautiful. It's not like only us trying to do something, but the whole Almaty, Kazakhstan is like, we have this idea. We want to give you this much money. Let's do this. Yeah. And
I have to stop you. For people who don't know what a bas-relief is, can you explain that?
Oh, bas-relief is this kind of art. It would be too hard for me. So like, it's something that you can touch with your eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, with your hands.
It would be like a 3D map of the painting, right?
Yes,
so if you couldn't see, it would be like a Braille painting, would it not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. So we're choosing 20 works right now. That would be the most interesting and the easiest to put on that map so that people actually can feel, which ones are the greatest. And so by seeing all of this interest, we realized that our 10,000 square meter museum, I don't know how much it will be in feet.
Times 10. So 10, how many? 10,000 meters?
10,000 square meters, yeah.
So it would be 100,000 square feet.
Yeah.
So
we realized that this museum is not big enough for what people are offering. And we're thinking like there's another hope that we're going to build a second building right next to it. Yeah. Where there'll be more.
How many just said, because I come from a country of 8 million people, right? So how many people in Almaty and how many people in Uzbekistan? You know? Oop, I think she froze.
Yeah, she had a little Wi-Fi blip. I can look it up while we're
I
waiting.
lost you for a second.
Yeah. Are you back? So we wanted to know
actually.
how many people are in Almaty and how many in the whole country, if you happen to know those numbers.
So is it better right now?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right
sorry.
now.
Yeah. Sorry. Is it better right now? Let me try this.
We can hear you.
Oh, you can? Okay,
great. I'm looking it up. How many people?
Yeah. Sorry, could you please repeat your question?
So 2 million people about in Almaty. Does that sound right?
Yeah, 2.5, mostly. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
then
And then
Kazakhstan,
the population of all of Kazakhstan, more or less?
21 million, according to Wikipedia.
Okay. And Switzerland is how many?
Mhm.
The whole Switzerland is like 8 million, and
Oh,
the biggest city, which is Zurich, with agglomeration, is a million. So
okay.
very, very different
Oh, wow.
proportions than we have America. Yeah. So no, that's why it's interesting, because when when you're saying like numbers like 60,000 people, it's like that would be all of Zurich that can walk and crawl, like showing up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those are amazing, but
Wow.
still
I'm not sure
amazing
it was
numbers. Hmm?
small.
What?
I thought it had a bigger population. Mm.
Yeah, no, no,
Yeah.
no. Because we don't have a lot of space, right? We're wedged in
Right.
between all these other countries, and the Alps don't allow for very dense living because it's Alps. So yeah,
Yeah,
no, no,
because it's yeah. Mhm. We also have like the mountains. Yeah,
yeah,
this very
a lot of
beautiful.
Beautiful mountains.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Does your museum is it in dialogue with the National Museum, the one I'm familiar with in Almaty, that is a combination of art and nomadic arts?
I yeah. I think you're talking about the Kostyv Museum.
I
So
am.
in this, yeah. So in December, we had this beautiful event. UNESCO came to us and they were like, we want to organize this ICOM style meeting for all the museums in Kazakhstan and in the Caucasus and like Uzbekistan neighborhood and all these neighborhood. And they asked if we would like to host this event, and we agreed. And
Oh,
in December, we had this event with all the museums from Kazakhstan. Yeah, all the directors, everybody came. It was a beautiful event. Yeah. So we try to partner with everybody, to work with everybody. And another actually thing, like the big thing that I have to mention is that when the museum opened, there was also another contemporary center called Tseliny. Have you heard about it?
no, I don't know it.
So it was also like this beautiful thing, two things that came up together. Tseliny used to be a movie theater around 20 years ago where I used to go watch a movie. But then, like when the whole industry was kind of a little bit going down, they acquired the owner, Boranbayev, like acquired the building, and he was thinking what to do with that building, and they decided to make a contemporary center, yeah, called Tseliny. And so you would see there more temporary contemporary art things, like because their exhibitions rotate more often, and they also have like more performances there. They also have like tours and everything. So we aligned so that we open our museums and centers together at the same time. That was a big week in September where first they opened and 2 days later we opened it for everybody, that people would be interested going here and there, and people would try to think about us together. It was not a competition. We wanted to show them that we're working together and we're trying to make contemporary art more accessible in Kazakhstan. And so, yeah, we work with them more often. Like when they have some events, we have some events, we try to invite each other. And in the, so when was this? I think this was, yeah, in October. This was like a month since the museum opened. We had our very first collaboration, international collaboration. It was with Tate Modern. We had their we had their curators come to Kazakhstan, and we had this beautiful event around Caucasus and Central Asia. And we also invited Celine to be with us, yeah, to be a part of it. Yeah.
Very cool. I love
Mhm.
that. I mean, the whole spirit, how it was set up, and making art accessible to just regular people. I think that is just so important and wonderful. So to kind of linking it back to what you had said, Melissa, and what Dowd had told us about how the scale of how important this really is in terms of accessibility, and the size of the donation, and the attribution. So that's really, really wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah. So when we were building it, we never knew that it would be this big.
Mhm,
Like once, and we're like, whoa, okay. Like
mhm.
we need to calm down a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the interesting thing will be how to sustain it, right? But I guess that doesn't seem to be a problem. A little follow-up question I have before we get into our last round of questions is, all the children, the tickets that you're selling for young people, is that also attributed to the fact that this is being made available to school classes so that are these children coming by themselves, or are they coming mostly with their teacher or with their school?
So we do have tours in 5 or 6 different languages. We have 8 in-house tour guides who are always at the museum. And because like tours are very popular, we also have audio guides that you can rent, and like for only, I think, $5 with the entrance ticket, $5 or $6. So
Okay.
the whole idea is like even the school kids can come and take them. And yeah, so mostly these are the school kids who come with their teachers. And yeah, and these are private schools most of the time, but yeah, most of the time, yeah, it's private schools where it's incorporated into their classes, where they come to our museum and they let us know that they're coming. Like this Friday, one of our best British schools is bringing their 70 kids, I think. Yeah, so 70 kids, and then they tell us beforehand, they book all these tours and they tell us what kind of kids, from which grade and which language, and what the whole idea of it. So like we try to make the whole tour interesting for them too, to know, knowing like, for example, even my son is in still, we call it kindergarten here, but it's like preschool thing for 5-6 year olds. So I organized one of them for his friends, for his school, and there were 20 of them, and the tour guide made it very interesting, like totally different for the kids who are 5.
Yeah,
Like who would come to the contemporary museum and wouldn't know what else though. She would take them around the museum, and she would like take me to another room, and she'd like, okay, draw me your favorite art. Show me like what was your favorite. Or like our social media manager would walk with them, and she would start asking them questions like, what did you like the most? What do you think this is about? Like, yeah. So we try to tailor them for each, like a visitor, but mostly school kids who come with their teachers. Yeah.
Yeah.
And your answer to Nina's question, and Nina, maybe you designed it that way, reveals that the educational community is celebrating your museum with open arms.
Yeah, sorry, my connection got lost again. Yeah, I missed the whole
that was
the
okay. I
last
was just
sentence.
saying that your answer reveals that
Okay.
the educational community, the teachers, the school administrators are thrilled about your museum because they're coming in droves.
Yeah.
That's
Oh
great.
yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So, Adisa, we always have the same 2 questions. Melissa, unless you have a question that you feel we should be asking, we haven't. Okay. So we always have the same 2 ending questions, which we'll hit you up for. What advice would you give to somebody? And I guess you're just in this process yourself. So I think I'd be super curious to hear what you have to say. What advice would you give to an up and coming museum communications director? Like, what would you say to them? Or what would you say to yourself a year ago?
Very good one. Yeah. So maybe being a little patient and not rushing, because there's a lot of opportunities coming down right now, and just calming down a little bit and looking at each option very carefully and listening to what the audience, the visitors need most of all, like, because you sometimes can be too into what you're doing, what your interest is, but stopping and thinking about what the audience needs and what the city needs. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
That is not what I expected you to say, and it's very thoughtful. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
Okay.
answer.
Where were you going? Like, what were you expecting to hear?
I think I was expecting to hear learn as many languages as you can, and sort of more technical tool things, but that's a much more holistic and lovely.
I love that answer. It was perfect.
Yeah.
And then, do you want to go with our last question, Melissa?
Yes. If you, God forbid, should ever have to flee your home with your family, what would the piece of art or artistry be that you would make sure was in your bags?
Um,
Or it's what's your favorite piece of art in your office or in your home?
the painting that was done by my son of four of us, because like he likes drawing, but at the same time he only actually started drawing some pictures like where there is a story where like they would be raiding and all of us were skiing or something like that. So I think that would be the most important one for me, that would try like to take with me everywhere I go. Yeah.
Boy, you would never want to leave that behind. I could see that.
Yeah,
For sure. That's a great
Thank
answer,
you
too.
so much for being a wonderful guest and for telling us about your glorious museum, which I intend to see as soon as possible.
you should
Melissa,
guys come. I'll give you a tour myself.
I just looked up flights from Zurich to Almaty. It's not bad at all.
Yeah, and March and April would be the best months to come.
Okay, maybe next year then.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thank
Well,
you
thank
guys. This was beautiful.
And this was a wonderful conversation and really, really enlightening. And I love just that there's such a different cultural aspect to this that, you know, we normally just don't think about. So this has been really great. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, viewers who joined us. Feel free to email if you have later questions for Adisa. We'll answer as best we can or pass them on. And it was great to be together.
Thank you all. And we'll see you in a month again with our next edition of Artful Life. Bye.
Bye.